All right, let's take a look at what the Arsenal Mercenary or the Gunnery Commando is looking like on PTS. So I've had quite a bit of time playing around with this class. It's one that's got a very simple, straightforward rotation. So on PTS, I loaded it up just to see if it had that same straightforward rotation. It's been working out pretty well for me. It's the one that I've got in my guide. It's a lot of fun, but it's still looking like the ultimate damage numbers are going to be the worst out of pretty much all the DPS classes. So at the end of the day, it's hard to say from this early look on the PTS if it's going to be viable the way it is right now and everything on live, but just weaker than all the other classes, or if it's going to be weaker and not viable in certain content that requires a really high damage check, because right now the damage checks are quite crazy. I don't think it's the final balance for raids, at least I hope it isn't. So without further ado, let's get looking into the Arsenal, Gunnery, Merc, Commando, seeing why I think this class has a lot of fun with all the new changes. So one of the big things is we've still got vent heat, but we do not have thermal sensor override. It is now something that gets a utility that's going to be attached to your vent heat. So definitely I've been noticing a little bit of a challenge with energy management compared to before. There is no equivalent of the Apex Predator set on PTS. Your legendaries are not that. For legendaries, we are getting basically concentrated fire set, and you get the extra supercharge. So, woo. Time to celebrate. The one thing that they do give you though, they have something that helps, a few things in the skill tree that help with energy management, and I haven't played around with them too much to see if it's going to make a big difference in the amount of damage I do. I've been having a lot of fun with the Cleave that they've put in. As you can see, I am still wearing the Primed Ignition Tactical. It's been the tried and true best for overall damage. Now, let's take a look at what they've done with the skill tree. Level 27, you've got choices on extra cleave on your Tracer, which is what I've been taking because it's freaking fun as hell. You've got Signature Shot to increase the damage on your priming shot. And then you've got this one, which I haven't really tested out, but could be really good, is reduce the activation time of Tracer Missile by 0.2 seconds and the heat it generates by 2. So we might be fixing some of those energy problems, allowing us to get a little more damage out, and also it could change up the rotation or a priority system with having that 0.2 second cooldown. So that's kind of interesting. 35, just take Power Barrier unless you need Stealth Scan. It's pretty simple. But 43 is pretty interesting. Chance to increase the critical damage and chance of Heat Seeker Missile, or this is one that I kind of think is really cool, is Heat Seeker Missile applies a residue to the target, increasing your Tracer Missile damage against target by 5%. And then here we go, this is pretty cool too, is Thermonuclear Fusion. The tactical that we used to use for AoE is now actually a choice. You can pick at level 43 instead, so that if you want to make sure you have that extra AoE, it's built in while still being able to use Primed Ignition. What a nice change that is. So getting into level 68, this is where things start getting a little bit annoying, the choices. Definitely, I can see a lot of this being aimed at making PvP more balanced, making it easier to kill people. In operations, it might change a little bit for you, but it's really going to be when you're playing Flashpoints and by yourself. Coastal Surge, Adrenaline Rush, no longer get that 60% guaranteed. You're going to have to pick if you want it over Thrill of the Hunt, which is allowing your Blazing Bolts or your Bolt Storm to be used while moving. Personally, I much prefer the movement over the extra heal, so that's what I go for almost all the time. I think Power Shield is more of a PvP focus. 73, another one that's a super annoying choice. Hydraulic Overrides, which is hold the line, or your Reflect. Reflect is such a good ability when playing by yourself, as long as there's range units, because you get self-heal from it, as well as taking no damage. So it really sucks having to choose between that mobility, a really great defense with self-heal. And lastly is Electro Dart, your 4-second stun. That can impact players who are playing by themselves. Definitely can be a challenge, but mostly, you know, this is PvP is where they're really trying to reduce the class's ability to be overpowered. And 78, I don't really think there's much here that isn't a PvP choice. The biggest thing is just Trauma Regulators is kind of the all-around PvE. So now let's take a look at how this Cleave plays out, how it looks like fun. Let's start off with a Tracer Missile on this enemy here and watch the fun ensue. So as you can see, it spreads to everybody, and that creates my Heat Seeker Missile spreading to everybody, which is ridiculously fun to do. Absolutely love seeing all of this Cleave as the attacks just keep hitting multiple enemies at once. So as you can see, the Cleave was quite a bit different there. It's a lot of fun to play with, and yeah, for lower level, easier content, I'm absolutely loving those changes, having that built-in Cleave added. Almost every class is getting built-in Cleave like that. So it's definitely something that's not just unique, but if you are a player who is already playing this class and you already like them, you're going to like them even more. As always, have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video.